Welcome to Liverpool fans. Today we've got the latest updates of your beloved club Liverpool. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of breaking news. Let's get started. As Liverpool prepare to face Marseille in what has become a night loaded with consequence, the sense of uncertainty around Arne Slot's future has reached a breaking point. This is no longer a match defined purely by tactics or qualification scenarios. It is a moment that could decide the direction of the club for years to come. Within Anfield's corridors, the message is increasingly clear. If Slot fails to deliver victory tonight, Liverpool are ready to move decisively, and Jurgen Klopp is prepared to return. Slot's tenure has steadily drifted toward this cliff edge. When he was appointed, the club believed they had found a progressive coach capable of modernising Liverpool's style, while preserving the emotional intensity that defined the Klopp era. There were early flashes of promise, but they were never sustained. Performances became uneven, confidence faded, and the team began to look unsure of its own identity. Matches that demanded authority were met with hesitation, and games that should have been controlled slipped away through familiar mistakes. The Marseille fixture has therefore taken on enormous significance. Senior figures inside the club view it as the final benchmark. Win and Slot may be granted time to stabilise the season. Fail, and the conclusion has already been drawn. The concern is not only about results, but about leadership. There is a growing belief that the players no longer respond instinctively to Slot's ideas. That belief has eroded, and that the connection between manager, squad, and supporters is weakening at a dangerous rate. Against this backdrop, the possibility of Jurgen Klopp's return has emerged not as a fantasy, but as a genuine contingency. Klopp's departure was emotional, dignified, and meant to be final. Yet those close to the former manager suggest his bond with Liverpool was never truly severed. He stepped away believing the club was in a stable position. Watching events unfold from a distance, he has reportedly remained in quiet contact with key figures at the club, offering perspective rather than interference. If Slot fails tonight, Klopp is understood to be open to returning, not out of nostalgia, but out of responsibility. He knows the club, the dressing room culture, and the expectations better than anyone. He also understands the urgency of the moment. Liverpool cannot afford drift. They cannot afford a prolonged search for direction while rivals surge ahead. Klopp represents certainty in a time of doubt. The players are acutely aware of the stakes. Many of them built their careers under Klopp, flourished in his demanding system, and trusted his leadership completely. There is a sense that his presence alone would restore clarity and intensity. While no player would openly undermine Slot, the emotional pull of Klopp's possible return is undeniable. For a squad searching for conviction, the idea of familiar authority is powerful. Slot, meanwhile, stands alone with the responsibility of the moment. He has spoken of belief, patience, and long-term vision, but football at this level rarely allows space for gradual correction when results falter. Marseille will test Liverpool physically and mentally. Any sign of fragility will be punished. A draw may not be enough. A defeat would almost certainly seal Slot's fate. Inside the boardroom, preparations are reportedly already in place. This is not reactionary chaos, but calculated readiness. Klopp's potential return has been discussed discreetly, not as a permanent retreat into the past, but as a stabilizing solution. Whether it would be a short-term rescue or the beginning of a renewed chapter remains unclear, but the willingness exists on both sides. As kickoff approaches, the weight of history hangs over the stadium. Anfield has witnessed countless defining nights, but few with such direct consequence for the manager on the touchline. For Slot, this match represents his final chance to prove he belongs at the helm of one of football's most demanding institutions. For Liverpool, it is a crossroads between persistence and reset. If the final whistle blows without a Liverpool victory, the consequences will be swift and decisive. And in the silence that follows, the familiar figure of Jurgen Klopp may once again step forward, not as a symbol of the past, but as the man trusted to rescue the present. The pressure surrounding Arne Slot has reached a critical point as Liverpool prepare for what is being widely described as a decisive night against Marseille. Inside Anfield and beyond, there is a growing sense that this fixture represents far more than a European group stage contest. For Slot, it has become a referendum on his future. Senior figures within the club are understood to have concluded that failure to secure victory would leave them with little option but to act, bringing a sudden and brutal end to a tenure that has unravelled far quicker than anyone anticipated. Slot arrived at Liverpool carrying both optimism and expectation. Tasked with succeeding an era-defining manager, he was entrusted with maintaining the club's identity while evolving its football. Early signs suggested promise, but consistency never followed. Performances fluctuated wildly, results failed to match the quality of the squad, and confidence slowly drained from both players and supporters. The defeat to domestic rivals last weekend intensified scrutiny, exposing tactical uncertainty and a lack of authority at key moments. Marseille now stand as the final test of belief in Slot's project. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere is tense. Board members are said to have held multiple meetings in recent days, analysing not just results, but body language, dressing room harmony, and the overall direction of the team. There is concern that players no longer fully understand their roles, that the pressing structure lacks coordination, and that in-game adjustments arrive too late to change outcomes. These are not viewed as isolated issues, but symptoms of a deeper problem that can no longer be ignored if the club's ambitions are to be protected. For Slot himself, the stakes could not be higher. He has reportedly addressed the squad with brutal honesty, acknowledging the criticism while demanding a response defined by intensity, clarity, and courage. Sources close to the dressing room suggest the players are acutely aware of the consequences, not only for their manager, but for the season as a whole. A defeat would leave Liverpool staring at the possibility of European embarrassment and domestic instability, a scenario the hierarchy is determined to avoid. Marseille, meanwhile, arrive with confidence and momentum. They sense vulnerability and will not hesitate to exploit it. Their physicality, pace, and directness pose exactly the kind of challenge Liverpool have struggled with under Slot. Any hesitation, any tactical miscalculation could prove fatal. For Liverpool, this is not a night for patience or long-term thinking. It is about immediate authority, control, and result. If Liverpool fail to win, the response is expected to be swift. Preparations have already been quietly put in place for a possible managerial change, with contingency plans discussed at executive level. While no official decision has been announced, the message internally is stark. This match is the line. Crossing it without victory will almost certainly trigger Slot's dismissal, regardless of mitigating factors or future promises. Such an outcome would underline the ruthless reality of elite football. Slot may argue that rebuilding takes time, that injuries and transition have played their part, but Liverpool's standards leave little room for explanation when momentum is lost. This club measures progress in trophies, control, and belief, not intentions. The fear among decision-makers is that delaying action could allow standards to slip further.